Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to Friday Night's Lounge. I can see some of you are already still here from earlier when we had a kind of not knowing why I was saying I was on yesterday at 6 o'clock, but I'm glad you guys are here. We have such an amazing show for you guys tonight. I cannot wait for us to start this show and for you guys to see what's going on because like I've told you, we hit the 5D mark January 1st. We're now into the end of February. And everything I've been talking to you guys about for the past 9 months is getting to that point where you are going to release those toxic patterns. And we all know that we did all that internal work. We talked about how to break ourselves down. But did we talk about how to rebuild and how to really let that backpack, before we climb up that mountain, are you really letting things go? Are you aware of your patterns? I know a lot of you are aware of them, but how do you break them? And how do we move into this new age of Aquarius as we're going into? How do we do that and really not go into the same cycles again? Because I know I've been doing a bunch of readings lately and a bunch of sessions, and I'm still trying to get people to see that it's time to let things go because it's time for your fulfillment. It's time that you take that time to realize that like you deserve to be happy. You deserve to live a life where you're excited, where you wake up every day and you are passionate about what you're doing. And you could be making $1 million a year, but you might wake up dreading to go to work every day. And we don't want that to happen. So we have such a great show tonight. I'm not even going to get into announcing everyone that's here because most of you know who's coming from our posters. But I'm just going to let it play out and keep you guys on the hook for a little while. So let me just say hi to some people. Hi, Christine. How you doing? Good to see you. Paula, happy Friday. Carol, you were on The Office yesterday. You're with us again tonight. I love seeing that. Hi, Lisa. Congratulations on that new job. We still have to talk about that. I'm so excited for you. Maria, looking forward to the lounge. So are we. Happy Friday, Jennifer. Happy Friday, Stephanie. All right, well, let's say happy Friday to the one, the only, the woman of the night. And we're not wearing the same shirt tonight, so I don't know what that means. We're going to have to figure it out. Welcome, Miss ELISE Satellaro.
Hello. How's
How
everybody?
are you?
It's Friday. It's my
You're
favorite day of the
dancing.
week.
You're dancing.
I usually dance.
You're
I
romancing.
don't dance well, but I dance. No romancing, just dancing.
I know, but
No
we're gonna get you.
romance.
We're gonna get you that low. That I think you're at that point, and I haven't tuned into you in a while, but I'm gonna tune in.
I know.
I'm gonna feel it. I'm gonna tune in. I think that you're not there yet, but I think you are almost ready to get back into the dating world.
I can tinker. Just tinker a little.
What does tinker mean? Like you're gonna like put your like little toe in
Test
the
the
pool?
waters. Yeah, basically test the waters out.
Yeah.
Be non-committal. Have some fun. Meet some new people.
And then when he like chews his piece of steak weird, you'll be like, I'm out.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
My worst pet peeve is chewing with your mouth open. Oh my God.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
I just felt it. That's my
See?
validation of the night.
Ask my daughter.
I'm already tuned in. So tell me, Elise, I'm curious to know, and our audience wants to know. What are your 3 non-negotiables? If you go back out into the dating world, what are the 3 things that if a guy does, no matter how hot he is, no matter how strong that connection is, those fireworks, what are the 3 things that you're just going to say, no, I'm out?
First thing, honesty.
Well, how do you know if he's honest? If he's eating a piece of steak?
I'm an intuitive.
So how are you going to know you're going to know if he's lying to you by what he orders off the menu? How does he know if he gets a second date?
But it's important to me. Like, honesty is it. Like, I have the mom radar. Like, I can look at you in the eye and I know you're guilty immediately.
Okay.
Okay.
So you're just gonna know if he orders the steak. Yeah. You're just gonna know. Peppercorns or not. Okay. So what's number 2?
Sense of humor. I think that's really important, and just a person that treats others the way he wants to be treated. Just a very kind person.
All right. Well, these are things you're going to find out over time. But if you're on your first date, how do you know he's going to get a second date? Because these are values you're going to have to see over time.
It's not even like a quality. It's like that icky guy feeling that I get. Like I know within the first 30 seconds whether or not we're going to jive or not. And it's that icky guy feeling that I get.
Okay,
And
can
over
you tell
the
me a
years,
little more about that?
I'm not comfortable with them. Like
Yeah.
within the first 30 to 60 minutes, like I could just feel weird. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it's just that gut feeling, like fright and flight type fear, I think. But it's like that. Just something's off in the beginning. Yeah. And a lot of times I never followed my instincts and got into a lot of trouble that way. So.
All right. Well, we're gonna hopefully get some insight from our guest tonight about how to break those patterns. And I think he's already been through it all. Okay. And I think he's been, and he kind of came crashing down and then rebuilt like the phoenix. He's rising up from this. So we're gonna find out what life was like down in the doldrums here, and we're gonna find out what he did to get back up there. And I'm really interested in his story. But I think it's like I said for you, ELISE. Yeah. I'm gonna read you right now. Oh. I think that there's gonna be some interest coming your way, probably in about a 3-month time frame, or you're gonna have a little inkling that it's time to put those toes in the water, right? Now we have a couple things here. Christine says if he talks about himself, ditch him. All right. Anyone else? Okay, Paula says, drinker. With me, heavy drinker, roaming eyes, atheism. Oh, good. Those are 3 things you could tell on a first date. Paula, are you married? Are you single? Where are you going? Let's find out. Not knowing where he is headed. A guy who doesn't know who he is, what he wants to do, and how much he makes.
Especially at our age range. Like, 50s to 60s. Like, at that point, you don't know what you want to be when you grow up. There's an issue.
I think still living with his parents, if he's 50, might be a deal breaker.
Yeah. Or no kids. Or never been married. And they're 56, 57-ish. Yeah. Like, you got to start wondering why they're not married.
Definitely no duck or gambling. Like shooting ducks? Like, what do you mean?
Well, if he's a hunter, I'm not into hunting.
Yeah, so if he shoots ducks,
that's a deal breaker there.
Definitely not. Narcissistic. I mean, you could if a guy's overly charming the first time and he like says all the right things and he's like making you feel like $1 million, run. All right. We're getting a lot of attention here. Someone who can't give full attention, looks at looking at his phone the whole time while on the date. That's a good one.
Yeah, put
that's
the phone
a good
away.
one. All right.
Good, Christy.
All right. Well, we have someone that's going to get us in the mood and is going to get all of our ladies totally. I mean, the last time he came on,
such a good performer.
Oh my God. And he has a lot of he's in a space right now where you can't get a sense of his voice or his audio, because we are doing this on a live stream. So the audio quality is, if you were to see this guy live, I've known him for a very long time, probably 15 years. I've seen him perform live. He is unbelievable, and he just doesn't sing. He sings with passion, and he really, it's just like he exudes it's wonderful. And so last time he was on, the ladies were just swooning. So if we're going to talk about changing our lives for love, releasing toxic exes and patterns, Chris is the best one to come on and start us getting in the mood, right? So without further ado, I'm just going to welcome our one, our only. What is he? I don't know. He's everything. He's a musical artist. Chris Willits, welcome. How are you, Chris?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Ready to play.
Awesome.
Thrilled to be here again. Yeah.
We're thrilled to have you. So what we're going to do is I'm going to feature you so people could see up front and personal. We're going to mute our mics and you just tell us what you're going to sing, what your song's called, if it's an original. We want to know.
All right.
You just take it away, Chris.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you. All right. So this is a new one. Last time I was on, I told everybody I'm starting to work on an album, and I am. This is a new one called Heyo, and it's a love song. Surprisingly, I tend to write a lot of love songs, but this is like a really I just fell in love kind of love song. So here you go. I hope you guys like it. Hey yo, baby, so beautiful, and all I know, I'm never ever gonna let it go. Say hey yo, world's now brighter, and don't you know, I'm never ever gonna let it go. Say hey yo, and it's hard feeling this way. And I know whoa, this could be good. And I know whoa, always love her like I should. And I said, hey yo, baby, so beautiful, and all I know is I'm never ever gonna let her go. I said, hey yo, the world is brighter and she don't know. I'm never ever gonna let her go. I said, hey yo, and the sun little brighter when she's around, and the stars start falling to the ground. Just like my love for her. My love has never been so damn sure. And I said, hey yo, baby, so beautiful, and all I know is I'm never ever gonna let her go. I said, hey yo, the world is brighter and she don't know. I'm never ever gonna let her go. I said, hey yo. Said, hey yo, the world's more beautiful, and don't you know? I don't ever wanna let you go. I said, hey yo, oh my God, don't you know? Never ever gonna let you go. I said, hey yo. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
That was
Thank
great.
you. I hope you like that one. Like, it's a newer
Very
one.
nice.
Loved it. Is he from the
Thank you.
South? No, he's not.
No, I'm from all over the place, but sometimes I'm told I have an accent, and I'm pretty sure it's because I grew up out in Oregon, where I lived in Oregon was like a logger town, mushroom growing town, and a lot of people kind of had a southern accent around there. It was a little bit of drawl. So yeah.
And you live in Jersey now, so.
Then I live in Jersey now, so I've got this weird thing going on. So
A little bit of country, they're saying.
yeah, a little bit. Yep.
People are loving it. All right, so you're going to do a few more songs, and
Yeah.
we're going to take a break, let you rest your voice, and we're going to bring you back. So we'll see Chris in a little bit. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks. Sounds good.
Again.
Yo,
Ooh,
what's up, Elise?
I'm here, Mama.
So yeah, a lot of people are having their views on
I was looking at a couple of them.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think people, I mean, I've had a lot of sessions recently where everyone's like, and I see some comments in the thread, which way do I go, this guy or that guy? And really it's about like, where are you going? Because sometimes it's not about which guy. At this point, if you're looking to like, usually, because I remember we had Jen on last week and she got rid of both guys.
I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
I thought that was like the best
Because-
move she made, because she's free, because I really don't think she really had a direction, even though she
No.
thought she did. She was at the fork in the road with both of them, so it's better just to like stop and drop them. Stop and drop.
Stop, drop, and roll. That's what I
That's
say.
right.
Well, I really want to hear from our next guest. I'm going to talk a little bit about him. And I hope that I pronounce his name right. I tried to do a practice run. We'll see. he'll come on and say, Marissa, you wrecked it, or you did it right. But his name is Robert Althuis. Althuis, I think. I don't know. I probably pronounced it wrong. Althuis is the founder of The Whisperer. It's a mindfulness organization that provides coaching strategies, tools, and techniques to help private clients and businesses find their way so they can become a force of good in the world. He was once an Ivy League educated Fortune 100 corporate executive and later a successful real estate and private equity entrepreneur. And he wrote the book, which I think is a great title, called Enoughitis. And it's about how, like, I know I've been through this for a long time in my career. It's like I got to that next step of success. Well, I'm sorry, this is not enough. I need the next step and the next step and the next step. And everything felt good for those moments, but then you went back to feeling that void. And you're like, wait, if this isn't it, all the stuff that I tried to build and work toward and got there and it wasn't it, then what is it? And then you get to a point of really feeling horrible because you're like, wait, I thought this was supposed to make me happy. Like the white picket fence, the job, the career, the, all of that stuff. And then you're sitting there and it's still inside and you're like, whoa, this is not cool because now I don't know what to do. So Absolutely. I think we've all been there, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's bring Robert on. And I just want to get right into his story. Hi, Robert. How are you?
Hi, Marissa and ELISE. I appreciate you bringing me on. You have a perfect explanation of my book, by the way, so I don't even have to say anything. That was perfect. And you said my name correct, and I learned a lot. I have 30 seconds, I figured out on my date, to make it or break it, and I shouldn't do it perfect the whole day. And I learned a lot already. It's perfect.
All right. So I want to know about who you used to be. Tell me about the old Robert before he transformed.
Yeah, sure. I was, what they say in the world, right? I was really successful. I was this alpha male that was a go-getter, Ivy League educated, had a flourishing career in GE, and then later for myself, I made a lot of money. My LinkedIn profile looked like a business rock star, and I was a narcissistic asshole.
Whoa. At least you know it.
I know it. Yeah, no, I know it. I swam with the sharks and I became a shark. And I was very driven by this hole inside. I had a chip on my shoulder. I had, a big father wound. I wanted him to acknowledge me, and he never, he was a very stoic man and never really did. So I always wanted more and more. And I thought, if I get there, right, just like you explained, if I get that next million, if I get that next business deal, if I have that house on the ocean front, if I have all those things, then, I'm going to be happy. And eventually I got to that mountaintop and I had all those things. I had millions of dollars. I had an oceanfront house. I had a beautiful wife and kids and cars and toys and exotic vacations and, you name it. And I was completely gutted. I was empty. I had sold a big part of my business. I was in my early mid 40s, and I looked myself in the mirror and I couldn't stomach looking at myself and what I had become. I had no respect for myself. I cheated on my wife. I was a philanderer in business. I was I was nasty. I had such a competitive edge. I did a lot of things in my life that I'm not that proud of. But in the worldly way, I was a very successful guy. And I really had a huge conflict with that kind of emerged when I got to that proverbial mountaintop, right? And
I wanted to ask you a question because
Sure.
I'll forget if I don't. When you say you looked at yourself in the mirror,
right,
and you couldn't stomach yourself, before you were saying you had all this stuff.
Right.
Why when you looked in the mirror, like, couldn't you stomach yourself? Like, what was that about?
So that became, this was 2015, and that can be, in hindsight, it became an awakening moment that I had. But I literally, I know now, and what I believe is that, deep within the masculine, there's this innate desire to be just and noble and courageous and strong and, to be a man of integrity. I had zero integrity. I was successful in the worldly sense. I made an ass load of money, but I went over dead bodies. I pushed everything out of my way. I was completely disconnected from my heart. I lived in my head. Like I said, I didn't keep my wedding vows. I wasn't that present as a father. I wasn't a bad father, but I certainly wasn't that present. And, when I looked myself in the mirror, I was like, so now what? You got all these goodies, you got all the money, but I literally had this schism because I couldn't stomach the guy that I looked at. It was just in such conflict with my soul, what I had become, that I kind of vowed to myself, I need to get out of this. I need to find another way. And I don't want to live like this anymore. I don't want to look at myself and have no respect for myself.
Well, Paul is asking, what was your rock bottom?
No, there were several. It's described in my book as well, but there were a couple points that were really vivid for me. In 2016, I lived here in a very prestigious Miami neighborhood, and there was a gentleman that committed suicide. And this is, a neighborhood with $1 million homes. Everybody has, upper echelon of society, right? And there was such uproar in the community about how this very wealthy businessman could just walk into the mangroves and put a gun to his head and blow his brains out when he had such a beautiful wife and a house and a business and he had kids, and it was so selfish, this and that. And I recognized that I felt the guy's pain. I was like, I wasn't necessarily quite there, but I wasn't that far away from that. I understood why he did that. And when that happened, it was this kind of turning point where I was like, I don't want my kids to go through that. I don't want to end up there. That's not where I want to be. But I understood why he did it, why he was just so weighed down by life that he did that. And so that was a very big turning point. Now later, the universe gives you all the presents you need, and sometimes they're wrapped in sandpaper. And so I went through a divorce in late 17. My father had passed away early that year, and then I had a business that got wiped out by a hurricane. And in the course of about 2 or 3 months, I went through all of that stuff, and I found myself on the edge of bankruptcy, going through a divorce. And, everything that I had ever built up and hold on to, that was my self-worth, my money, my power, my businesses, all that stuff was gone. I was just butt naked laying on the street. The money was gone or largely pledged to this bank. And, I wanted to show up as a world-class ex-husband, which is a commitment I made to my ex-wife. And now I was struggling to do that. And so, those challenges were another form of rock bottom.
Yeah, so when you said that all this happened in your marriage, is that what kind of broke it down? Was that your wife found out about all this? Or?
Not so much. I think we had when I went on the spiritual search, I went on, like I did everything in life. I went on this mad bender, and I read every book. I went to every workshop. I went to every retreat I could find. And, we slowly and surely grew apart, I think. She was kind of, she had married this corporate guy and wanted the white picket fence, and she just wanted a house. She was okay with that. I couldn't live with the disconnection that we had. And we were, in my mind, we had become roommates. The passion, the romance was gone. And, that was something that was important to me. And we started to have less and less of a connection. Now, we had a conscious divorce, and we have a beautiful relationship now. She has been very happy with another man who's a great guy. So it was just for the better for us, for our trajectories in our lives. It was just a better choice. And like I said, I made this commitment to her. I wasn't a very good husband the last few years, and I told her I'm going to be a world-class ex-husband because that's not within my control. So, it was a blessing in disguise. We still celebrate holidays together. We still celebrate vacations together. And, we're very close. We're just, the form of our relationships have changed, right?
Yeah, and when you're saying you didn't have the connection, it seems like at that time you didn't have any connection to yourself either. So, like, you almost probably couldn't connect, right?
I think by the time we got divorced, I was starting to connect with myself. And I had, and these are masculine, feminine energies, right? I had a very closed-off heart, and I had a heart opener in around 2015, 16. And ever since, I really started, kind of working with the feminine energy within me, which I hadn't at all. I mean, I was just living in my head all along. I was a lot of suppressed feelings. And this is typically how this shows up in the masculine, right? We always hurt outwards, external, and women and feminine hurt themselves. That's why women have eating disorders, they have adrenal fatigue, they have all these kinds of things. They're inflicting the damage on themselves, that hurt on themselves. Men always reflect it outwards. They destroy and hurt the ones they love most, which is typically, the wife or the partner or their family or their friends. And so that's why we see such an escalation of domestic abuse and emotional abuse and those types of things. And then the men ultimately become self-destructive. And it's just a way that, men or the masculine expresses this emotional disconnect. Really, they're being disconnected from the heart, right? Which is the main problem in this world, to be honest.
Yeah. And how did you go from that, with everything kind of falling down? How did you take those first steps to like rising up, and what have you changed about your life to where you are now, I guess?
Yeah, what have I not changed?
Yeah.
But I'm a big believer. The universe gives you all the lessons that you need, and so it was a slow tear down, really. I was I was very resisting it. Because I was successful in the worldly sense. And those are the stories that you grow up with. So, I felt like, I did everything I was supposed to do, right? I've been a good boy, if you want to say it in that sense. Like I went to the best schools and I put myself in all these positions and I made the money and I got all of it. And then why am I empty? And so I had a huge disconnect. Well, if that's not successful, what is success? How do I measure it? What do I pursue? What do I do? And that was for a few years, I had to really search for that. And that became the journey within, which is the third part of my book, which is incidentally called Phoenix Rising. Because I love that story. Sometimes we got to burn to the ground, right? We got to come from the ashes. We got to just leave everything behind. And that process is painful sometimes, very painful, because we have all these beliefs, all these societal beliefs, cultural beliefs, religious dogmas, possibly our upbringing. We got all this baggage with us. And then, to eclipse that, to ascend from that, we have to really let go of a lot of these things. But this is all hardwired in. This isn't stuff that just goes, with a couple of affirmations. You have to live it, you have to embody it, you have to experience it. So it takes a little bit of time.
So the people that are watching and listening, if they're kind of relating to you and saying, you know what, I could relate to this guy, and
right.
I feel unfulfilled too, and they're at their bottom. Like, what are the first few steps you would tell them to take to start to get out of that and to start to move in a different direction?
Yeah, that's a beautiful question. I always say the first thing is that everything is always in perfect order. So where you are today, as low as it might seem, as heartbroken as you might be, as worrisome or anxiety that you have, it's everything is always in perfect order. And when we really trust in that, then we know that, we're not permanently going to be here. We're not like fixed beings. We are energy, so we can change, we can transform in the moment of a second. And so when we kind of embrace that, then now we start making space for change. Because most people are so stuck, they don't even believe that they can change. They don't even believe their circumstances can change. They don't believe that, where they are in life today, there's anything else, because they just don't see the how. So first we got to make room. We got to just kind of open up that space and say, it can change. And if we can't really see that evidence in our own life, we can look at other people's lives, because we're all the same, right? We're all one. Ultimately, on an energetic level, we're all an individual expression of God or source or infinite intelligence, whatever you want to call it. And so if anybody else can do it, we can do it.
Now, there's somebody that just came on and they have a pretty serious question. And maybe you can help me with this. But she said, this is my first time with you. I'm depressed and I don't know why. Suddenly, help me, please. So I'm like, what do you say?
Well, yeah. First of all, I'm sorry you're depressed. But more so than that, I'm not a psychologist, so I don't want to pretend that I can help you. I would always advise you, if you're really depressed, seek help. I think that's the first thing. I went through intensive therapy for 5 months after my divorce, and I needed it. I needed an outsider to show me life through a different lens. I needed someone to show me how to look at life in a different way. And then from that, I found other medicines, as I call it, because we're always our own healer or our own guru. There's no mystics in this world. There's none of this. There's just people that can hand you a little bit of medicine. But in terms of depression, I would always ask yourself the question, always ask like the next question. Okay, I'm depressed. Well, that's a mental state, right? And we are not our mind. We are not our thoughts. So why am I thinking this? What is causing this? And you can just kind of follow that thread, so to speak. Because, what is making you depressed? Because just saying you're depressed is going to keep you there. Mm-hmm. So then you ask, well, what's making me depressed? Well, maybe I'm unhappy in my relationship, or maybe I just lost my job, or maybe, a parent of mine died, or whatever. It could be grief. It could be anything, right? But we can find out, well, what is making me depressed? Well, this could be many things. I'm reading here a meditation and suddenly I was crying. Well, first of all, crying is a beautiful thing. Crying is a release, right? It's just emotional energy releasing. So we store all our emotional thoughts in our body, in our cellular body. And so, through breath work and crying and singing and dancing, even exercising, we can release that. And in meditation, if you go in that state and you just find yourself crying, what's wrong with crying? That doesn't mean you're depressed. You're just crying. You're releasing something. I don't necessarily think that that's bad. I mean, that's just, it could be very, very wholesome.
Yeah, I think that if you're going through a release, usually if it's repressed, we're bottling it up and feeling the anxiety or the depression. And then if you sit with that and instead of resisting it and you start to cry, that means that you are actually moving through the grieving process of whatever you have to grieve. So your anxiety and depression, once you release it, you need to feel that sadness. You need to bring it into you instead of trying to be like, I can't feel this. Let me distract myself. Let me go buy something. Let me go drink something. Let me go medicate myself so I don't feel this. And it's totally normal. We all have grief and wounds and of the transitions that we never processed. Like, let's say you didn't ever process your divorce or process those losses. You would have severe anxiety now because you just didn't process those transitions. So, I think if you're crying, that's where you really want to get to, and you're actually letting it out. So that's a really good thing, right?
And for some people, crying is so hard. I think it's just like instilled in you. Don't cry, shows weakness, but it really does heal you. And I'm guilty of that because it takes me a long time to let things out. So that's like my progression. I'm trying to heal myself. So.
Well, and there's a lot of societal programming around this, right? Especially for men. I mean, men are not supposed to cry. We're not supposed to have any fear. We're supposed to be strong. We're supposed to always have all our shit together. And the reality is that's bullshit, right? Because, we, especially if we open our heart, I mean, we connect to the world and we connect to our partners, we have enormous emotional range. And of course, a man will probably experience it slightly different than a woman. We're wired a little bit different, but we still have these same emotions, and we cry. We have these emotions need to be expressed, and the inexpression of emotions is what locks it up in the body, which ultimately causes illness of all kinds of things. And we can't really escape it, right? It's going to be stored. It's going to come up. It's going to be triggered. Yeah. Unless we process it.
So what is your life like now? I mean, are you still raking in the millions? Are you still going on your world-class trips? Do you have a woman in your life? I mean, what does life look like now? And are you happier with your life now?
That's a lot of questions.
Yeah, sorry, I like to ask questions.
On a lot of levels, but I'm still in business. I still have a few businesses that I have an interest in. I probably don't make as much money as I used to, but that comes in waves too because I'm an investor these days, and so I do a little bit of different things. And I'm starting new things, right? I wrote my book last year, so I took this lockdown as an opportunity to finish my book, which is Enoughitis, which details me, from the time I came out of business school, and then the first part is fairy tale. I meet my wife, and double income, no kids, and then I go for real life, which is all the business things that I went through, and then Phoenix Rising, how I got through that colossal epic fall from grace. And then I founded The Whisperer, which is something that came to me through plant medicine, to be honest. And it's my platform for coaching and sharing my messages. I think that there's a lot of alpha males out there in the world that are disconnected from their heart. I think it's represented in the world. We see so much war and violence and hate and inequality and injustices. I'm a big, I coach about masculinity and femininity because I had to heal my masculinity. And my relationship to the feminine is something that I needed to work on, and I carry this out in my work. And I believe that my ideal clients are typical men, although I do work with women as well, and I work with feminine empowerment coaches sometimes in cooperations. But my main focus is to work with people that come from the business world, because I think when we can change leadership in businesses and we can raise the consciousness and the frequency of businesses, we can impact a lot of things in this world. There's a lot of reach through these companies, through these leaders, and people that have impact. And I believe there's a lot of, very strong, powerful men that are interested in moving in this direction, because they're in a similar position as me. Once you accomplish all these earthly stuff, and there's still a lacking of happiness and fulfillment, then there's a desire to find something else. And sometimes that gets expressed, people numb it with alcohol, with drugs, with sex, with porn, with having affairs and things like that. That's obviously a very unproductive way of doing it, and it's usually self-destructive. So when that comes to the foreground, you can also elevate your life and elevate, your game, and open up your heart and, reignite your relationship with passion. Because I find a lot of people that have a very passionless relationship. I mean, they're roommates, just like I was a couple of years ago, and it doesn't need to be that way. But you have to work on these things if you want to change it.
Yeah, perfectly said. I also work with a lot of business owners and CEOs, and they come to me asking, well, why am I not making the money? I have the intelligence. Why is my business falling? And it usually comes back to them, and something happened within them. They think you want to fix the externals, you want to fix the strategy.
No.
And
everything is within.
Yeah.
Everything is within. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, if you want a copy of Robert's book, which I think he sold it pretty well on here, and I'm interested in reading it now, neverenoughitis.com. If you want to follow him on the IG and on Facebook, same tag there, the Zen Whisperer, and you can reach him there. But please go to his website, because you could get on his newsletter list. You could get the book. You could learn about his coaching. And is there anything else you want to say about that, Robert?
No, I appreciate being on this show, and I think there's such opportunity. Like there's a lot of negative news these days about where we are in the world, and there are so many things that we could be worried about, and we're fed a diet of negativity through the main media outlets. But I actually think we're at some of the most beautiful times in the world, because the opportunities are enormous as well, and the energy is changing. Right, we've gone from a masculine dominant energy in the world to a feminine dominant energy. This is the new, you call it the age of Aquarius, but these energetic fields that are changing are going to create enormous opportunities for everybody, and it's an invitation for us to rise up and really take advantage of this. Because if we change from within, we will experience the world in a different way. So to finalize your question, how do you experience life now? I see it through a fundamentally different lens.
Yeah.
And once you start living from your heart, and you kind of anchor yourself there, you never go back.
That's true. That's great. I totally agree with you. I was just talking about this yesterday on my live stream, talking about the energies that we're coming into. And I think people are going to start slowing down. I think they're going to start living, a slower pace in life, rather than just going and doing and achieving, and taking it a little slower. And
and not necessarily manifesting less, right? Because if we're manifesting with feminine energy, we're using magnetic force, and rather than the masculine, which is very much in the doing, the action, and pushing and shoving, and my old life, right? I just out hustled everybody for 20 years. That's why I was successful. I was like 100% masculine, just driven motherfucker, and I would just go through walls. But that energy doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work for me anymore, but it doesn't really work in this world anymore.
Right.
And so for us to balance that out, which is going to represent itself in like, it seems like more effortless manifestation, but it's really more an alignment of our energies. And when we do that more with a feminine energy, which is the creative force in the world, by the way, the feminine doesn't just birth children, it births everything in this universe. And so when we tap into that feminine energy, now we can magnetically manifest and pull it into our life. It's a completely different way of living. And we can still make millions. The abundance is there. The universe is abundant. So, it's right out there if you want to create it.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Robert. I'm going to go to our musician for a break, and we're going to come back. And I want you guys in the chat to let Robert know what you're thinking. Let him know what you're feeling. Let him know what's going on in your life, transitions. You can ask Elise and I questions if you want to. But if you have a question for Robert about a transition you're going through, or about him, or about his book, please ask. We're going to bring you guys into the fold when we come back. All right. We will see you soon, Robert, and we're going to bring Chris back on. Hey, Chris.
Hey.
Oh, let me bring you up here. How
Cool.
you doing?
I'm doing all right. It was fun. That was some good stuff to listen to. That was
Very
nice.
Insightful. Yeah.
It was really nice. Yeah.
It was.
Eye-opening. Yeah.
I think you speak through your heart, though. I really do. I think you are a man that is in tune with his feminine energy.
I don't know. I didn't used to be, but I guess it was funny. It really took going through a pretty rough, a rough divorce and all that. And one day I was just like, I'm tired of pretending I'm like something other than I am. Like, yeah, I love Disney movies. I love, sitting around. I love baking. I love doing everything that's like doing anything creative and anything fun. And I just stopped caring at one point. I was like, it doesn't matter. I am who I am. And that's made life so much easier. I don't know how to even describe it.
Yeah, well, you weren't living the life that you thought that your parents wanted you to live, that society wanted you to live, or that you should be living.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm going to live life the way I want to live it, and that's freeing.
Yeah, and it's very freeing feeling, and it's funny because with my work, I have to sometimes. A lot of times I have to be very effeminate with what I do. I'm a designer, and I'm a big guy. And I go up to people and they're like, does this guy know what he's talking about? They're like, no, come on, come with me, let's go, come on. I just dive into who I really can be, and it's weird because people who know me outside of work and know me at work, they don't realize, they think it's two different people. It's just at work, I'm actually almost more myself than I am when I'm not at work. It's a hard, because I get to be totally free, and it's interesting, so I don't know. It's, yeah. So, all right.
All right.
So you want more music?
Yeah.
Sorry.
What are you going to do now?
It's another original. This one's called Thus We Fall. This one's the music. I've worked on this forever. It's a darker song. I don't write a lot of darker songs, but it's a darker song. And the lyrics are kind of, I feel like it's a lot of for me, what I felt like was going on in the world this whole last year with everything, with all of it, just kind of, this is how it manifested itself in me. So sometimes it feels a little cryptic when I sing it or redundant, but it was kind of my raw emotion about how I felt this whole last year, about everything going on out there and all the crazy negative energy. And, it ended up, I don't know. You tell me. We'll see how it goes. All right.
Well, we're going to mute ourselves and you can take it away.
All right. Here we go. All right. I don't think I can handle it today. 'Cause we fall, yeah, we fall away. And I can't take this feeling again today. I can see calling out the bed, but I don't think I have the strength to run away. Can you hear bringing out the dead? Another's gone, another falls today. Against the wall, here comes more of the same. And I can't take away another pain. 'Cause we fall, yeah, we fall away. And I can't take away your pain. I can see calling out the dead, but I can't take another shot today. Can you hear them singing out for days? Another gone and another falls away. But we fall away, and I can't take away this pain. But we fall away. Another gone's gotta get better someday.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank
That's
you.
wonderful.
That was awesome.
Like
I gotta let people know how to get a hold of you. Now, Chris, I'm gonna talk about Chris because I've seen him by himself. I've seen him do duos, acoustic duos. I've seen him in the Big Trip, which is a bigger band. They do a lot of Van Morrison, Grateful Dead, all sorts of really cool stuff. And then he even gets bigger and bigger bands. So he's available. He doesn't like to promote himself, but I'm going to promote him because I want to sell his ass out. That doesn't sound good. Okay.
No,
but,
that's okay.
You know what I mean.
I think so.
He's available for private gigs, parties, outdoor events, anything you want. He could get all sorts of different bands together, right? You could explain it. I'm not going to explain it. You explain it.
Yeah, so I'm available for booking private parties, whatever type of events you want. And I mean, I could literally go from just me with a guitar playing for 2 to 4 hours to me with percussion, with a bass, me with a full-on band. We could do Grateful Dead music. We could do classic 70s rock. I mean, we could do originals. I could put together pretty much anything you need. Yeah, that's the best way I could put it. I mean, you know, if you want something more specific, I can put that together too. So yeah, you can find me there. That's the best place to get a hold of me. Message me on Messenger through Facebook. It's really the best way to get a hold of me. It's the one thing that's just always going to notify me, and a lot of different rates. And you know, I'll travel pretty far, but I mean, with traveling far, you know, it's comes with some travel expenses, simple things like that. But yeah, that's please check it out and just hit me up. Let me know if you have anything you need.
Yeah, and I could tell you, I mean, this is a live stream, and we've had some issues with his space, with his audio, but like, when you really hear Chris in person, it's just it's incredible. And he does, like, I don't know, I've seen you pack houses where like the playlists that you put together, like it just, I mean, it's just amazing. And then you guys kind of do runs too. Like you guys are so in sync, and it's not like you have a band. You just have all these amazing musicians getting together. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you play some stuff that, I mean, people just kind of connect with it. And there's not one song on your playlist that like I would say I didn't like.
Thank you.
You know
Yeah,
what
I
I'm
mean,
saying?
we like to be eclectic and it's fun, but play the stuff no one, well, I like to do the stuff no one else plays. That's my favorite thing to do. But
Yeah.
yeah, you know.
Yeah, and on Facebook, if you guys go and search Chris on Facebook, the reason I have it written this way is because if you search Chris Willits, there's a bunch of Chris Willits that come up. You have to search Christopher Willits, and you'll see the banner, like his profile photo is
I'm like playing a guitar like this, black and
it's
white.
this one. It's this one. That's what he looks like on Facebook.
Yeah.
That's what you need to find. So if you put www.facebook.com/Christopher.Willits.7, you'll get to him. But if you just search Christopher Willits, you'll see his picture. It looks like that. So message him. He'll take care of you. And if you want to look at his work too, like you have videos from the big trip and stuff.
I believe so. Yeah, there's videos on that page and on the Big Trip page as well.
Yeah, if you go to Big Trip or Secondhand City on Facebook,
Either one.
you can like look at the stuff that he's done where he's packing houses and making people dance all over the place. So yeah, it's good stuff. So book Chris Willits, because if I have a party, I'm booking Chris Willits and he's my friend and I'm still going to pay him to come out.
You better invite me.
Yeah.
Right
Yeah, you will be invited, Elise. We'll just once this is all over, we'll just do a big deck party and you're coming out.
Be a blast.
There.
Let me
right.
in. All right.
All right. Well, Chris will be back to do another song at the top of the show, and I'm going to bring Robert back on, and we're going to see what everybody in the chat is saying and see how we can help. All right. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Okay. Hey, Robert, you're back.
Hi there. His music is fantastic, by the way.
Awesome.
I started playing guitar last year, and I'm so jealous when I see guys like that because I'm so far away from that. But its music is terrific. I love it.
Oh, I'm sure he'll be happy to hear that. A lot of people have been having some very thought-provoking comments. Yes, Lisa, party in Scranton, as if there's not enough parties in Scranton already, but let's have another one. So I saw, did you see anything in here, Robert, that really you were kind of drawn to that you're just like, I'd like to comment?
I haven't seen any comments. Where do I see those? Oh, I go to the comments?
Yes.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
I didn't know I was, okay.
Just tell me which one you want and I'll bring it on the screen for you.
I'm just looking at it now. You pick one.
Okay.
It doesn't matter to me.
So Paula says she just passed up a crazy good but super stressful NYC high-level position to continue on her path to being her own boss. And I'm sure that was a tough decision to make. Yeah.
Or maybe not.
Maybe not. I don't know. We'll have to find out from Paula.
Yeah, there's not really a question in there, right?
No, there's not really a question.
I
think there's mostly... Yeah, most of them are statements.
Okay.
Let's see what else. So I can imagine, like, when you're going into deciding whether to have a more stable position where a corporate entity pays you, or taking the risk to, like, do your own thing, a lot of people don't take that leap to do that because they're afraid of not having that stability. And that is a scary thing. Like, how would you tell someone to, like, to know whether or not they should take that leap?
Well, if I'm honest, I would start by dispelling what they think. Whatever we think, right? That's what we create. That's our reality. That's the lens through which we see life. So when we have this paradigm in our head that only corporate jobs, or that's the only form of stability, and then anything entrepreneurial is unstable, then that's exactly what's going to show up in our life. So, we create what we believe it is. These are all just societal programming. Who says entrepreneurship needs to be unstable or hard or difficult? Who says that? It's only if it's in your head and you believe it to be so, then that's exactly what you'll find.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So I would address it at the root cause and say, if you want to do something for yourself, wonderful. Follow your passion. We all have gifts and superpowers and talents. Nothing is by accident or by fluke in this world. So we're all born here, and we have a beautiful mission, and we have a path in our life that we can kind of develop and uncover as we go. This is kind of the movie of our life that's unfolding as we live. And we've been given these gifts and superpowers to do exactly what we need to bring into this world. And so when we're always following our passion, and when we're finding our passion, right, and we're not listening so much to what the world tells us what we need to do, or what our parents think we should do, and which college we need to go to, and what profession is safe, so to speak, 50% of lawyers are depressed. That's a very safe profession, but is it safe mentally? I mean, there's so many people that are, stuck in positions and in jobs that are very unhappy. And yeah, so it's safe in terms of a paycheck, but it's not safe in terms of their mental health, their physical health, their emotional health. They're miserable people. So are you succeeding in life because you have a steady paycheck? Or are you just miserably failing at life because you're not happy? It just depends on what we believe, what we really want to achieve. And I think everybody wants to pursue happiness and fulfillment. And so when we address kind of this programming in our mind, we can have this entrepreneurial job. We can follow our passion, and we are going to be able to make money in it too. If it's our passion and it's something that we do fully committed, then we will be supported in it. Maybe we won't make $1 million in it, but that's not everybody's goal or dream anyway.
I think that's a wonderful answer, and I don't have anything to add to it because I think it was perfect. Angela's wondering, did you read The Secret? And do you believe we are who we attract?
Yeah. I think The Secret is very interesting. I worked actually with some of those people that are featured in there, and they have wonderful teachings, but The Secret is a little too simplistic. It's a little bit, there's a few more layers to it, right? Because just thinking something and affirming something in our head and just repeating in our head, I want to have a red Ferrari, I want to have a red Ferrari, I want to have a red Ferrari, is not going to suddenly make a red Ferrari show up in your driveway. So, when we think about, our desires, right, and we think about the thoughts that we have, the prevailing thoughts that we have, we can use affirmations, and we use meditation, and we use, the mental programming, and we can work on our limiting beliefs. But unless we experience it, unless we feel it in our emotional body and then act it out into the world, it's not going to materialize. So that's also with personal relationships. So as long as we can say, okay, I want this perfect man to come into my life, but if it's just a thought, but you don't actually feel that in your body, you need to feel that feeling. What does that represent to you? How would that feel? What would it mean to you to have that in your life? And then the second and the third thing is, like, you have to now, as you embody that, you have to be open to this. You have to be open to be asked out on a date. Maybe you go, join some online dating program. Maybe you go to parties or some setting where you can meet someone, but you have to be open. The universe has to be able to help you, right? There's these big wheels that start turning when we make a little step. When we make a little step, it's called the corresponding nature of reality. So when we make a little step in the universe, all these big wheels start turning. But if we don't make that step, the universe can't do anything for us. So, mental cleansing, right? Purification of your mind, your thoughts. I mean, watch out what you speak, because, what you speak is very powerful. Then emotionally live it, because your thoughts become your emotions, your feelings. And so really live it, feel it. What you want to experience, really feel it as if you already have it. Almost be grateful for it before you even have it. And then act it into the world and be open to it.
Yeah, and I think you made a good point, is that, when we're out there seeking in the wrong way, it all comes from the mind and saying, like, we want all these external things. We want this, we want this, we want this. But we're numb in our body. And until we get connected to how we're feeling in our body, we actually don't know what we want, who we want to be with, what we want to do, until we actually get centered in that heart connection. And that's where we can rise out from. And I think, we're talking about transformation here, but there are people in the chat that are asking intuitive questions.
Sure.
But I think you kind of already answered this question, Robert.
Yeah, and if I comment on that?
This question?
Intuitive wisdom, right? Intuitive wisdom is really our connection with the universe. There's an intelligence, there's a quantum field. Einstein talked about this, and people call it the quantum field. People call it infinite intelligence, what I like to call it. You can call it God. It doesn't matter what you call it, source, creator, whatever. And so in our mind, we're very limited. Our mind is just very, very limited. But through our heart connection, right? And when our heart is the master and our mind is the servant, now we're connecting to this energy field, this universal intelligence. And that's where intuition and wisdom comes from. And now we can tap into any wisdom in the world. We're not limited to that little mind of ours, a little monkey brain that, tries to figure everything out. The mind can only base its reasoning upon the experiences you had in your life. But obviously there's much more in this world, right? And so when we open up our heart and we open up to this intuitive wisdom, now we get all the static off the line, and now we get all these downloads, we get wisdom, and we feel that in our body. And so everybody has access to this. But I'll reason, is love coming? If I had everything that one partner to share it with, I can't find, is it coming? Well, I'm not a soothsayer, so I don't know particularly if love is coming, but I know you can manifest it. For sure. But you have to believe that, first of all, you have to believe that you're worthy of the love you're seeking. So do you love yourself is the first question, right? Do you love yourself the way you want a person to see you? The love that you want to bring into your life. If you want to attract that into your life, you have to love yourself that way first.
Right. But you know what we do, right? Right, Robert?
Well, you're a medium, so I assume you tap into some intuitive wisdom.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. I was like, does he not even know? Like, does he not know that we do this? Yeah, but he's right, actually. Elise, if you want to take this question, you can, or I can take it. But I just
Which
feel
one?
like this one with Christine.
Okay.
Is love coming? It feels like there's what Robert was talking about. I feel there's a lack of that spark within herself right now. I don't feel like there's a connection there. Like, I still feel like there's something, there's a block. I don't know if you want to take that question, at least you can.
One sec. Well, the card that I picked was the Nine of Pentacles, and usually for me that means, everything's fruitful for this person, and she's basically locked within herself. Like, she hasn't connected with what she really needs in her life. She has everything around her, but it's that happiness and that self-awareness of who she is, I think. And she's like pushing down all the opportunities, so she's not allowing herself.
Like, why aren't there
right?
opportunities coming in? Because I don't see people being magnetized toward her.
Right. So this is the card. Yeah, this is the card that I picked, Christine. It's usually you'll be like touching the pentacles, but with this card, it's kind of like gravity's pushing everything away from you, and it's you doing it. So it's your energy. I don't feel like she's really connected where she needs to be
Grounded.
On that level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't work in the area of prediction as much because we don't believe that you could just predict somebody's destiny. It's kind of like you create your own future by what you choose, but we could kind of look into the energy line that you're playing out. And right now, like, I'm getting that, like, you're kind of in this bubble, but I feel like there's not much movement around that. So I'm not seeing even people coming in for you to say, no, I don't want to date you. I don't know why this is happening, but it feels like there's still something inside of you that needs to release. And I think that Robert, what he had mentioned is right on. I think that there's still a process that you have to 100% everyone wants me, but they're taken. Okay. So yeah, we don't want you going with the emotionally unavailable men, right? We don't, because that doesn't end well. So yeah, so there's still a little bit, still a little ways to go. When I'm looking into your energy line at the moment, it just seems like I'm in a fog, and I'm wondering how we could clear that fog. So Robert, how can we clear that fog? How can we get her to attract the right men?
The irony, this joke in banking is that they always want to lend you money when you don't need it. And I kind of sort of believe that true love is kind of the same way. You have to be okay and love yourself and be okay, being alone. And that actually opens up that door to real love in mind. Because most of what we engage in, right, and what we're used to is what I call transactional love. Because, we're not whole with ourselves. So we're trading something, right? And in my case, I was let's say a powerful man with money, and I got her beauty into my life. So here I have a trophy wife, and I'm the guy with the money, and we're trading something, but it's transactional. And so we can still be successful and have beautiful children and all those things, but it's transactional. It's not really based on either me being whole or her being whole. And, I think the first thing for anybody is like, be whole with yourself. Love yourself like you want to be loved by someone else. And the moment you can love yourself that way, you will energetically project that out, and you will attract that partner into your life that you're seeking. It's just magnetic. It's law and order. The universe is like, it's all law and order. It's all intelligent. But if we're seeking and we're not complete with ourselves, we're always going to find something that's somewhat of a mismatch. So I would say start there and clean out the purification, right? I mean, love yourself. Find those shadow spots where you're not kind to yourself, and we can find this very easily, right? How do you talk to yourself? What do you what do you say to yourself when nobody's watching? When you look in the mirror, when you come out of the shower, are you kind to yourself? Are you nitpicking yourself, right? And that's just on a physical level. But just on that level, how mean and cruel are we to ourselves? Right? When we're in our car, we go somewhere and we say all these mean things to ourselves. I don't look good today. I have like sleepy eyes, all this stuff. Change that around. Change the way you speak to yourself. Don't punish yourself so much for the things that fail in life. There's no such thing as failure. There's just things that didn't go right that you learned from, right? But we get so hung up on all the things that we think are wrong in our life, that we failed, that we screwed up, we're fuck ups. So start being kind to yourself, and that energy is going to like resonate within you, and it's going to make you magnetic for that other person that's whole, which is the person you're looking for, right? That's going to be that match. That's going to see this wholeness in you. That's going to appreciate that. But that person is not going to need you in a codependent way, because that person is whole too.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like the two sickies don't make a welly thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, for sure.
And if you're a half circle and you're looking for somebody to fill a void because you need a connection or you're desperate for a connection, you have a void within you, and there's a desperation, and it's a wound, and nobody's gonna ever have anything to fulfill that wound.
Right.
So it's like once you're whole and you're happy and your well is flowing, you can spew it out to everybody. You can let people drink from the fountain,
Right.
And it attracts people,
Yeah.
It'll attract the type of people that you want to attract.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like I have so many women clients that are like, I don't want to be alone. I have to go from one man to the next man to the next man. And you're like, no, like, it's the desperation. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, so, but anyway, we digress. But yes, this is all about really connecting with yourself. It's not so much about, am I going to find the right partner, because you are the right partner. You are the right person for yourself. And that right person, when you're at your best, that's when you want to attract the right person. Because if you are at a lower vibration, you're going to attract somebody that's not right for you. And that's going to kind of be a mirror reflection of how you feel about yourself. So if you feel shitty about yourself, you're going to attract somebody else who feels the same way. So
or worse.
Think about it. Or worse. Right. So if you're loving yourself and you're passionate about your life and you're happy with life and you're just a spark in the wind, then you're going to attract someone else that you could share that with. Not so much get a need met, if that makes sense. Yeah. So Robert, let's talk one more time about how to get in touch with you, because I think you've just been a wonderful, wonderful guest, and we hope that people will connect with you.
Thank you. So the website is this is for my book. It's neverenoughitis.com. In a couple of weeks, the whisper.com will be launched as well. The website, we're redoing that right now, but that's the main website. You can find me, and on Instagram at the Zen Whisper. I post there daily. The last few weeks have been a little bit less because I've been focused on my book, but I post there almost daily, and I talk about life. I talk about, you know, some of the big picture things. I talk about spirituality, awakening. I talk about how to show up in a different way, and sometimes I talk about these masculine and feminine things. It's just a subject that interests me, and I see so much disharmony in this world because of it, that I think it's at the root cause of a lot of the things that we will be addressing in the years ahead, I think.
Well, thank you. I'm sure a lot of people here will enjoy your content and probably get your book. So there it is, neverenoughitis.com.
Beautiful.
And we really appreciate you coming on, Robert.
No, thanks for having me. I enjoyed it. Fantastic
you.
music, and I enjoyed the conversation. So perfect. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, we have one more song. We're going to ask you to stay on the screen with us to kind of
Perfect.
take the show out. So, Chris,
Hey.
how are you?
I'm good.
All right, you're going to do a cover, right?
I am. I'm going to do a cover, and I actually changed it to a different song. But you know what I love about doing this show is that, you know, I listen as we go, and I always learn something. But it's fun for me because at the end to do a cover, and really, it's fun because I can kind of tailor it. Hopefully, try to tailor it something to what what everybody's been talking about. So I switched it up a little bit, but it's still a really chill tune. And it's a really pretty one. And Marisa, I'm sure you have to have heard me do this at least once or twice live. So I think
right.
we'll be good. Yeah. All right.
We will mute.
All right. Here we go. I'm just going to play it. Now, if you want to know about it afterwards, I'll tell you. So. No, I'm not colorblind. I know the world is black and white. Try to keep an open mind, but just can't sleep on this tonight. Stop this train. I wanna get off and go home again. Can't take the speed it's moving in. I know I can, and honestly, won't someone stop this train? Don't know how else to say it. Don't wanna see my parents go. One generation's length away, fighting life out on my own. Stop this train. Wanna get off and go home again. Can't take the speed it's moving in. I know I can, and honestly, won't someone stop this train? Ooh, 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 ooh. So scared of getting old, only good at being young. So I played the numbers game to find a way to say that life has just begun. Had a talk with my old man, said help me understand. He said turn 68, renegotiate. Don't stop this train. Don't for a minute change the place you're in. Don't think I couldn't ever understand. I tried my hand, son, honestly, we'll never stop this train. Once in a while, when it's good, it'll feel like it should. and they're all still around, and you're still safe and sound, and you don't miss a thing when you're crying and you're driving away in the dark. Saying stop this train, I wanna get off and go home again. Can't take the speed it's moving in. I know I can, 'cause now I see I'll never stop this train.
Thanks so much, Chris.
That's
Thank
great.
you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for coming on. It was wonderful having everybody. We went a couple minutes over, but I'm sure nobody minds. So thanks, Robert, for being
Thank you.
here. And Chris, thank you for your wonderful music.
Thank you.
And Elise, thanks for being the co-host as usual.
Anytime.
So we
Nice
will see
meeting you,
you.
Robert. Chris,
Yeah.
it's good seeing you.
Thank you so
again.
much, everybody. I really enjoyed it. Appreciate
Awesome.
it.
That was awesome.
Chris, great music, man. I loved it. Beautiful.
Thank you, and wonderful subject matter tonight, man. Really, it was a really nice night. I needed this tonight. This was good. Everything was nice tonight. So
Perfect. Cool.
thank you.
And I have to say, Robert, that if you were really a narcissist, you wouldn't have thought you were a narcissist. So you probably weren't a narcissist.
Yeah. I was an asshole, though. I know that.
That was just part of life. At some point, you have to go through
So,
that.
So everybody, thank you for coming to the lounge. We will see you guys next week, next Friday, and we hope to have both of you on again. So thank you for coming. And let's say bye to everybody. Thanks for coming.